Hi, Miss Charlotte. Auntie Katie Scarlett again. Thank you for coming to Charlotte's Story Time. And today we are reading. Wow, that's really close. The Berenstain Bears in the Dark. So hopefully you like this one. It's a spooky, scary tale of fun and adventure in the night. But sometimes it's better to be safe in your own bed at nighttime, right? All right. Love you, my dear, and let's get started. All right, Berenstain Bears in the Dark. Woo! By Stan and Jan Berenstain. It says, in the dark. Being afraid of the dark doesn't just happen to you. It happens sometimes to little bears, too. There's the bear family with their light. The Berenstain Bears in the Dark, Stan and Jan Berenstain. All right, let's get started. Brother Bear, said Sister impatiently, are you going to take all day to pick your books? Sister and Brother Bear were at the Bear Country Library. Sister had already chosen her books and was waiting at the checkout desk. Hold your horses, brother. I'm looking for a good mystery. Sister Bear usually took out storybooks and books about nature, and sometimes books of poems. Brother liked those too, but lately he had become interested in mysteries, especially spooky mysteries. Hey, this one looks good, he said. Finally, okay, let's check it out. It's called The Case of the Crying Cave. Said Sister. It looks scary to me. Say, this is really good, said Brother, later that evening when the Bear family had settled down for some reading. Would you like me to read it to you? He asked Sister. Sister was looking at a storybook about 3 kittens who were arguing about which was the prettiest, and it was boring. Or are you scared? Teased Brother. Of course not, said Sister. She left her book on the floor and climbed onto the bench to sit beside him. The mystery began quietly. It told about some Bear Scouts who were on an overnight campout. When the Bear Scouts discovered a dark, secret cave, Brother's mystery began to get a little exciting. And when the cave began to cry and wail, it was anything but quiet. Woo! Cried the deep, mysterious cave red brother with a lot of expression. Woo! Stop, said Sister, putting her fingers in her ears. That's enough! And she went back to her storybook. Scaredy bear, teased Brother. And that's quite enough of that, added Papa, looking up from his paper. At the cubs' bedtime, Papa and Mama said goodnight, turned off the light, and left the cubs in the usual sleepy darkness. Outside the treehouse, the bright, busy sounds of day had given way to the soft, soothing sounds of night. The quiet conversation of frogs and toads, the soft cry of an owl, the sigh of the night wind. And if you listened very hard, you could almost hear the softest sound of all, the sound of lightning bugs, switching their lights on and off. On and off. There's the bears in their bed. But inside the treehouse, Sister Bear wasn't even beginning to fall asleep. That night, the dark didn't seem the least bit quiet and sleepy. In fact, it seemed like the spooky darkness of a scary cave. And the friendly old chest of drawers and funny clothes tree that Papa had made didn't seem so friendly and funny. They seemed more like cave creatures. So when brother decided to tease her a little more by making a wailing noise, a really spooky wailing noise. It gave her quite a scare. "Mama! Papa!" she cried. "Hurry! Come quick!" And come quickly they did. Papa rushed into the dark room and tripped over the clothes tree, and Mama rushed in after him and tripped over him. It was the commotion. Sister fell out of the bed and landed on both of them. Ah! Then brother, who had started it all with his spooky wail, turned on the light. What a mess. Sister, still scared, was holding on to Papa. Papa was holding on to the toe he'd stubbed, and Mama was looking for the nightcap she had lost in the confusion. All three of them were pretty annoyed with brother. Ugh, not nice. It turned out to be a very long night in the bear's treehouse, and Mama and Papa tried to explain that there was nothing to be afraid of in the dark, except maybe running into your clothes tree and stubbing your toe. But it didn't do any good. Sister absolutely refused to go to sleep with the light off, and brother positively insisted he could not fall asleep with the light on. The next morning, the bear family was very sleepy-eyed. "Boy," said brother, yawning, "I sure don't want to go through another night like that." "Neither do I," said Papa, "and I think I have an idea that might help." He took Sister's hand. "Come with me," he said. "Where are we going?" she wanted to know. "Up to the attic." "The attic? But it's dark in the attic even in the daytime." "I know," said Papa, "but there's something I want to show you." "Anyway, there's nothing so special about the dark. It's just part of nature, like the light. It's your imagination that makes the dark seem spooky sometimes." "What's imagination?" said Sister. "Imagination is what makes us think that the chests of drawers and clothes trees are cave creatures." "I wish I didn't have one," said Sister. "Don't say that," said Papa. "A lively imagination is one of the best things a cub can have. It's imagination that lets us paint pictures, make up poems, invent inventions. The trick is to take charge of your imagination and not let it take charge of you." When they got to the attic, Papa began to rummage through boxes, looking for something. "Oh, that's a spooky attic." Whew. Sister tried to follow Papa's advice and not let her imagination take charge. And it worked. A spooky shape turned out to be the shadow of some old tools. What looked like a giant was really some piled up furniture. "Here it is," said Papa, "my old nightlight. The one I used when I was a cub and I had a little trouble falling asleep in the dark." Sister couldn't quite believe that her big, powerful Papa was ever afraid of the dark. "Oh, sure," said Papa. "Most of us are at one time or another." "How about reading the rest of The Case of the Crying Cave?" Sister asked brother later that day. "Are you sure you want me to?" "Sure, I want to see how it turns out," she insisted. When it turned out that there was nothing very spooky about the terrible wailing noise, it was caused by wind blowing across an opening in the roof of the cave, like the noise you make when you blow across the top of a bottle. Sister was a little disappointed. And that night, when she and brother were settled down in the cozy glow of Papa's old nightlight, she said so. "I was pretty disappointed by the Case of the Crying Cave ending." "Why?" asked brother. "Because," she said, "I was hoping the wailing would be a really spooky, scary monster." And she leaned down from her bunk over Brother's and made a spooky, scary monster face at him. Cut that out, said Brother. Then Sister went right to sleep, but Brother lay awake for quite some time, listening to the owl's hoots and thinking that maybe he had had enough mysteries for a while. The end. I hope you like that story, Charlotte. You can ask your mom. I was scared of the dark a lot. Kinda still am. The dark, yeah, my imagination runs a little wild. But that's okay. It happens to all of us. So don't you ever worry about the dark. There's no bad monsters ever. So I hope you like the story and can't wait to see you again. Love you very, very much. I hope, let's see, if you're going to bed, I hope you have a good night's sleep and listen to that noise that you listen to and just go to sleepers. But if you're staying awake, then have a wonderful day. Love you very much. Bye-bye.